Yeah, so that's University Rochester. That's right by the Simon School. So I wanted a place that looked like a college, that was collegiate, and that was pretty. It had all of the elements that I talked about earlier, and so that's where I ended up going.
What about the structure of the building got you interested? Because a college could look more Harvardian, which doesn't have like the dome, and still be a serious college. Is there a particular reason why you chose one that looked like this?
It wasn't really the way it looked. This is what it happened to look like. So it's the end result. So, but I just wanted something that was just collegiate. It could have been anywhere, but the considerations were finance, economics, small, under 200 people, close to an airport. In addition to teamwork and global. For a small place, this is one of the few places that offered that. If I wanted anything else like this, I'd have to find a bigger school, 400 plus, maybe even 700 plus entering class, and I wouldn't have the same diversity or the same personalized, let's say, experience that I had here.
You said close to an airport. Why?
Because my wife didn't come with me, so I had to fly back to New York, or vice versa, once a month at least. Plus for interviews, right? So if you want to interview, let's say it was a smaller town that you could only get there by train or bus, or it was let's say it was Michigan. It's too many links to get out. You got to go from UMich to Detroit or Chicago and connect somewhere else. It's too much.
Detroit. Yeah. I actually went to Michigan for undergrad.
Okay, so you know.
Yeah.
Did you have a campus visit before you applied? And did that give you a different perspective of the school, or how did that evolve in terms of how you felt about, when I believe this was during the application process?
Yeah, actually it was very helpful to see it. I mean, one thing is to like kind of say, these are the parameters. It's kind of like going to college for the first time. You're kind of like saying, okay, this is what I'm looking for. At least that's the way it used to be, right? When they ask you, do you want to go to a suburban or urban school? Do you want a big school? Do you want a small school? Do you want a typical college setting? Is it irrelevant? Etc. So all of that is really what I showed you in pictures in terms of that process of let's say, analysis of what I was looking for. And then when I did visit, it was nice because it was very personal. Got to meet everyone personally. Professors were very personable. Students were great, so it just certainly helped the process.
Was there any other school that fits into your criteria of being in a suburb and small and personalized?
Yes, comparable in terms of just smaller. Dartmouth would have been one, but that's in Hanover. So Hanover's a hike. I mean, it's a great school, but it's for recruiting, if you have to fly around the country, I didn't expect, at least for me, big consideration also was with the airport. The industry wasn't going to come to me. In other words, look, at that time it was before the banking crisis and such, so like any other business school, you have all the consulting firms, the banking firms coming on campus and they recruit you. But to go back to what I was doing, which was luxury retail fashion, I had to go to them. So it wouldn't have mattered where I went. It was just a function really of, okay, what will get me to New York or Europe or wherever it is the quickest.
Could you tell us a little bit about the demographics of students?
Sure. The students are from, I think, 36 countries. I think it's still the same. Mostly maybe 60-40, 65-40, international, domestic.
Which is 65?
65 were international students.
Okay.
And then domestic 35. Kind of like the Stone Fellows program, except younger, a lot younger. Like hair younger.
Thank you, Jose.
No need to emphasize that.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm speaking about myself, obviously.
So, did it meet your aspirations, your expectations?
Yeah, actually, if anything, it differentiated me, right? Because my background is not finance, my background is not economics, and I wanted a place where I could learn this and not just be a number. And so it was great because it gave me all of those things, and I learned it pretty decently. And so it helped me get my first job out of school. So in 2003, when the market was horrible, it gave me, leverage to put in my design background and buying background at the time with finance and build a case as to why I could go on a team. And it worked out. So I was offered a job in April of my graduating year, which would have been June, because it's on a trimester system. So it was like late June where we graduated, June 21st or so. So it definitely did the trick.
1 year program or
2 years?
2 years.
2 years full time.
Throughout the application process, do you think there's anything that you found that was particularly tough, whether it was the GMAT or the essays or the recommendation aspect, or do you think there's anything else that the school could have improved in the future?
Yeah, actually, I think at the time they're still making the switch over from paper and pencil typewriter to automated.
Okay.
I think that would have certainly helped. But that was pretty much the biggest obstacle. I think all applications that I saw were long. Like I remember the HBS one was like 7 pages of essays. This one was a little long too, but the hardest part's really the essay. I don't think they can necessarily make that easier. That's more introspection than on the part of the school. Because it's pretty automated for all schools on average, meaning whether or not you use technology, whether it's analog or digital, it's the same process is really what I mean.
You mentioned about the importance of taking finance, economics during the course of your MBA and the need for team building, collaboration. What would you rank in the order of importance, let's say top 3 characteristics that you would look for in an MBA program? You could include the stuff that you've already mentioned, but perhaps prioritizing what was most critical to you. Was it the proximity to the airport, or is it the cohort, the size, or is it the industry that you will be looking into, post-graduation? Just wanted to double check on that.
Sure. Priority. So I just kind of gave you an overview of the main features, but the main one was really the educational piece, right? So I didn't need, career services really wasn't going to help me except with the resume. They weren't going to bring the companies to me, so it was me bootstrapping it. So that was a non-issue. In terms of the school, it had to be grounded in finance, and that's your specialty, is finance. Plus, I wanted something small, right? Again, not being from a finance background, relative to other people, I felt I needed more, let's say, guidance than the average person, because on average, especially with the bigger programs, you're in a pool with people who at that time, it's different now, but banking, consulting, and they were going back to the same industry. So to get any of that, for me at the time, it wouldn't have worked. So that was 2. So small. And then 3 would have been, within that small, would have been just a small community as well, right? With of teamwork, cohort, professors. And, to this day I keep in touch with a lot of them, so I know them personally.
Great. Thank you.
So was this the only school that you applied to, or is there any?
I took a risk with HBS.
Uh-huh.
Didn't get in. So those are the only 2.
Right.
So to me it was win-win.